Hi creative friends, this is Soraya and thank you so much for being here. So I allowed this to completely dry and I just want to bring it up closer just so you can look and see at these delicious color fields and just little splashes of paint and marks, etc. that happened when I let things dry naturally. Now I just want to show you this paper that I'm using is actually heavyweight drawing paper, and you can use it with wet or dry media. It's the Super Deluxe B paper, like BEE paper aquarelle. Let me see here. It's by the B Paper Company Professional Series. Anyways, that being said, I probably would have used Bristol paper, but I ran out of my Bristol paper, and I have this big thick pad, so I just said it's not a pad, sorry, it's a book, but I just said, you know, I'm just going to use it. But that being said, when things like kind of crinkle up and the paper gets all, you know, like, see, I'm gonna like tilt it and it gets all like it buckles, that actually adds to the finished piece, because we don't really want our, you know, originals to look like they are a print. Like, there are a lot of beautiful things that happen on the original that get lost when you print a piece. So all of these little irregularities, they actually add to your finished piece. Now, before I start in on here, I just want to point out that when I work like this, I am not looking for a direction to go in, or I'm not looking for, you know, like a cohesive kind of an end product. I'm not doing any of those things. All I'm looking for is inspiration. I'm looking for a little bit of beauty that I like. Now, when you look at this, there's nothing spectacular going on, but if I get my viewfinder out and I just kind of isolate things, like, I really do love whatever's happening over here. Like, I don't know what kind of caused it. I'm thinking, like, I put chalk paint over top of it. It was all like watery. You know, I'm loving these Stabilo marks over here. Again, the watery chalk paint over the Stabilo pencil. Yeah, like, I love these Stabilo pencil marks. And of course, the red and gold just really, like, I love all of this stuff over here. But, you know, 80 to 90% of the pages over here, they're unremarkable. But I just want to say too that when I am working like this, it's very different than me, say, working in this type of journal, because this is my color journal and I made a video for each one of these pages. But, you know, I set an intention, like, hey, every single spread I'm going to explore either a particular color palette or a limited color palette or whatever it was. So I knew the intention going in for this color journal, and it wasn't like any deep symbolic meaning to it. It was just like, hey, I just want to explore different ways of working with color. So that I set my intention. And over here, which is my healing ancestral trauma, this of course has a completely different intentional. It's deep, it's combined with shadow work, healing, this, that, and the other. So when I'm working in a journal like this, it's obviously going to be very different than working like this. This is just at this stage, I should say, it's very playful and loose, and, you know, I'm just like delighting in the color and the lines and this and that and whatever. So I'm not like putting any deep meaning into this, and it's really good for me with my personality. Like, I like going from this to that. I like going from, you know, looking at things very symbolically and, you know, this and that, and then just coming to a very light, joyful kind of a, oh, I'm just going to explore line or color, or, you know, I'm just going to just appreciate the moment, be present to what's going on the page. And inevitably, whatever I learn from this, I'm going to carry it over into my other work, and whatever I learn from my other work, I'm going to bring it into this. So I'm sorry for that big long spiel, but I just think it's important to make these kind of distinctions and different ways of working, because I don't think any one way is right or wrong or better or anything like that. It's just about what appeals to you, like whatever gets you to working on your art, like whatever inspires you, whatever keeps you at your table. You know, is a good thing. It's a great thing because, you know, as artists, especially, we are oftentimes working in isolation. So whatever can get me working on my art, I am always so grateful for it. So anyways, I'm just going to turn these around. And at this stage, you know, I want there to be a sense of looseness and possibility. And even though at the end stages, you know, maybe towards the middle-ish kind of stages, I want to separate them and I want to work on them separately. Unless you're working on a diptych, which is like, you know, it's like where you have two pieces, or a triptych where you have two or three pieces, but they're all meant to be viewed as one piece. And I don't know where it originated from, but I'm thinking it was during the Renaissance in the churches. They would like have, you know, two or three separate pieces of art, but they would combine it with like hinges or something. And then you would, when you view it, you're meant to view it as one piece. But I'm not doing that here. I don't want this to read as one piece. Now, if you are working that way, then obviously it would be a different process perhaps. But anyways, let's just jump right in here. So basically, I'm going to continue building up my surface. I'm not thinking about, oh, like what am I going to put down, the figures, etc. I want to just get more paint down on the surface because I have a lot of white. Now, if you want to keep your white, which I've done before, and I like that effect, you can keep pieces of this original white paper all the way to the end. I don't know if I want to do that or not. I haven't thought that far yet, but I do know that I want to add more. I want to add more color. I want to add more paint, and I've got to move a lot of my stuff out of the way, you guys, because honestly, when I've been working on my painted ladies, which I'm kind of obsessed with at the moment, it takes up a lot of room on my desk because I lay them all out. So yeah, my desk is kind of crowded, like right off the view of the camera. Like I have so much stuff, like just collage, etc., etc. So I'm just gonna kind of like I want this to be watery because I do want the you know, I want it to be transparent. I want the stuff that's already on the page to show through, at least for now. Because, you know, once I cover something up, I can't like get it back. But if I want to cover it up later, then of course I always have that option. So I'm really loving a lot of this like transparent, like really watery kind of stuff, color fields. And you guys, I love using my fingers and putting my fingerprints on the page. Like that is such a beautiful mark and it's so personal. I actually love it. Another thing, you guys, if you drag your Stabilo into the wet paint, you do get some really beautiful marks. And this is what I mean about, like, I'm not really thinking too much about the end product or anything like that. I'm just, like, appreciating just the lines and the beauty, the meditative quality of just moving my pencil through the ink. Klee, who was a deliciously innovative painter, one of his famous sayings was, "A line is a dot that went for a walk." Something along those lines, and I absolutely love it. I love that. It's just so poetic. So I'm just like dragging my pencil through there. And I'm gonna turn this around. Now, as you can see, both of these, they look very similar because everything I'm doing here, I'm kind of doing here, and all the colors are the same. So, you know, while they may not look exactly the same, they look, you know, they look like twins, I guess. You know, so that's why I said, like, hey, at some point, I am going to want to separate them. Now, what I do want to do is add a bit of yellow, I think. I don't know if I want an ochre or I think, you know what, I think I need a brighter yellow here. And I also thought about adding some tea bags here, but I don't know. Ooh, I really like that. And you guys, like when I was younger, I'm sorry, not when I was younger. Well, I was younger, but when my daughter was like really young, and time was of the essence, I would really work on multiple surfaces at one time because, you know, like I said, you know, time was, you know, I was tight on time. So it really helped me out a lot to be able to, you know, balance my art with what I needed to do with my daughter, take care of her, etc. So yeah, like if you're busy, like even 5 minutes, I made it work for me. And working in a way like this is really helpful. And it, you know, I was really productive because I could work on a lot of different pieces at one time. Now, like I said, I haven't been doing that lately because I've just become so immersed in what I'm doing, like my healing ancestral trauma journal or my painted ladies. Like I'm just like kind of obsessed with it, so I want to work on it like all the time. But now just doing this actually is kind of giving me not like a break, but like a break, but also like perspective, which is really super important. Okay. So once again, I am going to allow this to dry, but I really love that yellow. It really elevated things. And I think I'm going to use some tea bags when all of this dries and I come back to it. Like I'm really loving a lot of what's going on the page right now. Anyways, you guys, if you watched all the way to the end, thank you so much. And I will see you in my next video. Bye.